Alright, yeah, welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be taking a little quick leap into Historic. I just want to mention, if you got any pets, hopefully it doesn't come through on the microphone, but there are lots and lots and lots of fireworks going out tonight, so my microphone might pick them up and scare your animals. Just bear that in mind, give your puppers a good old pat on the head for me, but the show must go on. And we got some spoops ahead of us. This is the deck that I was actually going to play during during Halloween, but I didn't have the wildcards for it, which is just typical. I now have 0 rares. I did actually want an extra Kira in here, but instead I went with some Watcher of the Spheres as a more budget option. But yeah, this is Bant Spirits, carrying on with the Collected Company theme that we did with zombies on Halloween as well. So just shoving Collected Company into some tribal decks to see how it does. In this particular one, it's a blue-white splashing 4 green for the Collected Company. Since most of the most powerful spirits in Arena at the moment end up actually jumping into the converted mana cost 3 or less spot of CoCo right here, so we're not really conceding much power to run a card like this, which is pretty good. So Collected Company essentially gets you 2 creatures out of the deck from the top 6 cards of your library, which is pretty deep, and you know, Collected Company up there with most powerful cards of all time, I would imagine, in just kind of sheer value at least. It's probably been power crept by this point, but yeah, anyway, as we were saying, we've got lots of lords, things like Empyrean Eagle, a 3-mana 2/3 that gives other creatures with flying +1/+1. The only spirit this is not going to affect is going to be Skyclave Apparition, which is from Zendikar. Ends up being our kind of Spell Quelleris-esque kind of effect here, acting as kind of removal and interaction that we do kind of need with a deck like this. We're essentially Bant tempo for the most part. We're going to be trying to flash in and counter and interact and things like that, but going through the lords at the first point of this video. Supreme Phantom being a 2-mana 1/3 gives other spirits you control +1/+1. And similar to the Apparition not getting a benefit from the Empyrean Eagle, we do have 2 Watcher of the Spheres in the deck, which is not a spirit, but it is a flyer, so it will benefit from the Empyrean Eagle instead. Watcher of the Spheres is actually just a late inclusion for me, but one I think that's actually quite worth the slot in this deck. It's 2 mana for a 2/2 with flying, gives creature spells with flying 1 less to cast, so a nice cost reduction, and whenever another creature with flying enters the battlefield under your control, then it gets +1/+1 until the end of the turn, allowing you to do some big, huge swings with things like Collected Company. So it's actually a warm welcome not spirit in the Spirit Tribal deck, I would say. Other than that, though, this is kind of a tempo toolbox kind of deck, so we're going to be interacting in wild and wacky ways. One of the best ways we can interact is by tapping our opponent's board with Nebelgast Heralds, 3-mana 2/1. When it enters the battlefield or another spirit enters the battlefield under your control, you get to tap a creature an opponent controls. So it does have flash, which means we can do it on our opponent's turn and tap down their biggest creature. And then we have lots of other flash creatures as well, things like Spectral Sailor and Rattlechains. Rattlechains actually give spirits flash as well, so we can turn all of our non-flashy creatures into some Nebelgast fuel, which is kind of nice. Also, using Skyclave Apparition at instant speed is pretty dope. It means that you can hold up and counter magic. We've got 4 copies of Lofty Denial. Counter unless you pay 1, but if you have a flyer, it's counter unless you pay 4 for 2 mana. It's pretty decent to hold up on turn 2, and then following turns, as long as you got a flyer, it's also still pretty decent. I think the final one that we haven't really talked about is Shacklegeist from M21, a 2-mana 2/2. It can only block creatures with flying, however it does have an activated ability to tap 2 untapped spirits you control to tap a creature you don't control. So what you can do is you can get your opponent's blockers out of the way for a final attack. You can also flash this in and then tap your spirits down to essentially tap down their board if it comes to that as well. You want your opponent to not be attacking while you're attacking. You know, that's kind of living the dream as far as Magic the Gathering's concerned. So if we can maintain that, then that's going to be absolutely fantastic. The final card, I guess, is Kira the Great Glass Spinner. As I mentioned, I kind of wanted 2 copies of this in the deck because I think its effect is pretty insane for essentially racing your opponents. It's a 3-mana 2/2 with flying. It says creatures you control have, whenever this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability for the first time each turn, counter that speller ability. So this is kind of a synchronous effect. It means if we target our own creatures, that will also be countered. But we don't have anything in our deck that actually targets our own creatures, so it's not something that we have to concern ourselves with. What this is essentially targeted removal bait. Your opponent can get their cards accidentally countered, or just, if they know what they're doing, just not have removal in their hand at all. So things like Banishing Light won't do anything. You know, Blood Chief's Thirst, all of that kind of stuff will get countered the first time around. There's even a couple of activated effects in today's video, I believe you'll see, where those end up getting countered to a certain amount of value gained by us. But yes, this deck I did play for my dailies yesterday, and it was fine. It wasn't great. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend this for a grinding deck, but what you see is kind of what you get. If you like spirits, if you like a little bit of tempo, then this is a fun little diversion. It is just unfortunately a little bit too heavy on the rare wild cards, which is why this video is as late to be published as it is, essentially. So it's a non-budget investment that I wouldn't necessarily recommend building, but it's up to you. If you got the cards, by all means, play the deck. If you've got a Spirits deck, let me know what you've been playing as well. I've seen a fair few variations of the deck. This is the one that I've kind of gravitated towards, the one that I kind of like. So, yeah, let's see how it does in the arena. If you do enjoy the content, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. And without further ado, let's carry on. This video is brought to you by the generous support of our wonderful patrons and channel members that you see here. If you'd like to support the channel and get access to cool content like sneak peeks, bonus videos, polls on future content, or access to a personal deck critique from myself every month, then hit the join button down below, or check out the Patreon link in the description. With all that said, let's get into the gameplay. Okay then, we're in, and bit of an awkward hand, but it does have one of our better cards in for keeping tempo going. It's just a shame this isn't an island, otherwise this hand would be honestly quite nutsy. Going a turn 1 Spectral Sailor into a Lofty Denial and then having the Herald as well to tap down would be spectacular. But that's not how this is going to go. So let's just go Glacial Fortress and see what we're up against. Ooh, the Colorless Tribal deck. Oh no, maybe not. It's the, all the glitters and the 3 mana enchantment for artifacts. Can never remember its name, despite the fact that when it came out, that was my day 1 deck. Still to this day, cannot for the life of me remember what it's called. But we'll figure it out when our opponent plays it, I suppose. Until then, they'll wonder whether or not they want to play their Stone Coil Serpent or not, which is, I guess, somewhat of an annoyance for our deck. Somewhat of an annoyance. I mean, most of the stuff that's going to be able to target is monocolored anyway, so the protection from multicolored is not going to matter. It's just mostly the reach, getting around our littler creatures that will be less than ideal. Alright, well, we do want to play a Plains here, so we can hold up and Lofty Denial in case we absolutely hate what our opponent is playing. I can hold it, Glitters. Look at that. So instead of the counter unless you pay 4, we got a pretty effective counter unless you pay 1 instead. And what do we want from our next hand? It's hard to say. We're going to have to use these flash creatures very strategically to tap down Ginger Brutes and things like that so that they can't get in for damage. Getting an island there is honestly just fine. Means I don't have to shock myself and give away that I have something to do with my turn. Inquisitive Puppet, yep. Gives them a Scribe, other than that it's just a 0/2. And another Ginger Brute. Unfortunately, most of the good spirits are X ones. So it's whether or not we want to match our opponent's aggression and tap the Ornithopter. Which is not the worst idea in the world, considering we can't really do much with it. Although if we drew a Lord off the top, then we'd be able to play the Lord and then also flash in Spectral Sailors. and then get by the Gingerbrute stuff just fine. We're definitely going for the Herald. Yeah, I think I'm okay tabbing the Ornithopter. Let's race them. Or at least attempt to. So they'll get in for 2, I'll get in for 2. CoCo. That's a pretty good one. Alright, we are going to hold that, I think, for the flashy, sneaky, heraldsy, tricksy hobbitses kind of style of gameplay. If our opponent, for example, went for an All the Glitters on Ornithopter, we could CoCo into a Skyclave Apparition and get rid of the 0-drop, giving them nothing back. Alternatively, we could pre-combat tap their stuff down by hitting 2 creatures. Unlikely to be another Herald, so it's only going to be 2 creatures, most likely. And there's Tempered Steel, alright. So, no Spell Queller, otherwise I would go for the CoCo in response to this, which is a bit of a shame. I think I'm going to let it resolve, and then we're going to go for a Skyclave Apparition, a collected company to find a Skyclave Apparition. The safer play, I guess, is to do it now, so we can tap down in case we miss. Otherwise, like, during combat, when they attack him with these, turning them into 1/1s, I'll have a 2/2 back to block after getting rid of the Tempered Steel, and then the Ornithopter would deal no damage. I'm not sure if it's really worth the risk of looking for a single 3-drop that we didn't find, as it turns out. So let's take the Empyrean Eagle. And I guess Kira? Stop their glass caskets. Okay, so tap you down. Tap you down. Could have also gone for a Rattle Chains. It means that every single spirit I play is going to have flash, but I'm not sure that really matters considering we've got 3 already in hand. So now they don't have a good attack. If they got in with the Puppet and the Ornithopter, I would probably just double block and take 1 out rather than blocking the 2 damage. So, is it worth Spectral Sailoring for extra damage here? I'd say probably not. We could get him for 2 points of damage here, though. Apologies if you can hear fireworks banging. More apologies to any animals out there that don't necessarily appreciate that sound. Yeah, I think getting in for 2 here, just try to stabilize life totals a little bit, is just fine, because Nebelgast Herald's gonna flash in, tap 2, and then we could tap another 2 if we really wanted to with the extra Spectral Sailor. They're gonna go for it. I think they were questioning whether or not I could flash in a Lord, which I don't have the tools to do right now anyway. I could have, I guess, as far as they're concerned, a Rally of Wings, which is an interesting, legitimate, possible inclusion you could have in this deck. I don't think there's much space for it, mind you, but let's just do tap, land, go. I'm just going to make sure this is a long game. We know they got a Stonecoil Serpent in hand because they've held priority when they had no mana open. Another Tempered Steel, wow. They also have this exile effect here on the Inquisitive Puppet whenever they want. So I think we're tapping down the team here. Or do we want to take a little bit more damage so we can Spectral Sailor at a different time? Like, if I tapped Ornithopter down and 1 Gingerbrute down, I could take the rest of the damage here in order to have Spectral Sailors to tap them down later. So I might need to tap down something more important. Alternatively, this is a 2-2 that could be a 3-3. So maybe for this turn, we're actually going to go with the Spectral Sailor tap down plan. Tap down you, tap down you. This way, if I draw a flash creature, then I've got an all attack here without any repercussions as far as the counter attack's concerned. Other than, I guess, a Ginger Brute into an all that glitters, but we'd know that in advance. Yeah, so there's a Stonecoil Serpent. X0. It's a thing, alright. I'm just going to draw with Spectral Sailor here, I think. See what we can get. Empyrean Eagle. Okay, so I'm going to flash the Sailor in to tap some stuff down. And then hopefully the Empyrean Eagle can finish it off. 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm short. If I had the Empyrean Eagle mana, I would have actually been able to win here, but I don't. And I don't think I'd trade anything for the sake of extra damage. I think I'd just pass with a tap 2. And then block not to die, which is doable. At least somewhat. So there's an Inquisitive Puppet. And then the last card from them could be a Glass Casket, which would do nothing. It's a Ginger Brew. Oh no, is that actually enough? We got Spectral Sailor. Tap down max amount of damage. We're going to go with Ginger Brew, Ginger Brew. They can pay to make it unblockable. So I'm going to have to block some stuff. I don't know if I've got enough for lethal after that, actually. They go for the all attack. It's time to figure it out. So what we're taking? 9, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay. So I do that, and now I'm taking 12. Now I should have lethal in the air, right? 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah, that's right. I think I'm missing out. It's 2 to gain 3 life on the Ginger Brew, and you have to tap it. Right? Not missing anything. We've got perfect information here. There's nothing to miss. I think that Ginger Brew was a very good hit for them, but not good enough. I think they had to assume that I couldn't flash in anything here, which is obviously not the case. So we have the Empyrean Eagle Lord effect. +1/+1 to the board. This would have allowed me to tap down the Stonecoil Serpent or any other blockers as well. So they would have had to go a lot less harsh on the attack in order to stay alive here. 2 to -2. Lovely. Alright, that was a pretty fun game. Some good back and forth. I think if I didn't have my tappy, flashy creatures, that game would have been a whole different thing, but I don't know. We were looking for Skyclave apparitions and we didn't find it, so yeah, I don't know. We didn't get entirely what we wanted, but at the same time, it was good enough. Let's go for another game. Alrighty then, we're in. Let's have a look. See, we have Watchers into Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Supreme Phantom, Piran Eagle, one or the other. Eventually into the CoCo, so I'm happy with this. Got the mana to cast it as well. Opponent, I believe, just mulled there. Sorry if you can hear any banging in the background. Trying to drown it out for the paw poppers of the world. Okay. What are we up against? Plains? Speaker of the Heavens. It's probably going to be Soul Sisters. Let's go with the island then into Watcher of the Spheres. Gives us a decent blocker for the Speaker. I doubt that it'll remove this, but a Glass Casket, I suppose, is not unheard of. Bishop of Wings, though. It's a bit Monka-S. Alright, so let's go with Unclaimed Territory on Spirit. Let's play the Supreme Phantom. Pump the Watchers, and an Empyrean Eagle as well, giving us a decent backward swing and getting in for 5. So, yeah, pretty solid stuff. Next turn we get to CoCo and hopefully hit 2 creatures, pumping that Watcher of the Spheres back up to a 5/5 for another swing. And decent blocks all around. So it's going to come down to how much life our opponent can just gain out of nowhere. If they've got like a Soul Sister, that would be awkward. I guess they could also do Resplendent Angel, kill the Speaker through combat, and that's 5 life off the Bishop. There's a Soul Warden. Because then they can gain the 5 life they need, or the 4 life, sorry. The 5 life, yeah. For the Resplendent Angel that they need to actually close the game out. So we're just going to name Spirit. And I guess we're going for pre-combat CoCo. We're going to see what we can find. Kira and Supreme Phantom and Skyclave Apparition. All of these are very good. So I do kind of like the Lord effect. Gives us some major pumpage. The Kira stops our opponent from using Banishing Light effects. Also Skyclave Apparitions of their own. We could Skyclave their Soul Warden or their Bishop. I just don't know if that's necessary. I think we're just going to go all-out beat down. And Kira really helps us do that. So the game 2, we're going to take a hell of a lot more. A hell of a lot more. They were taking 5, I think 9, 13-ish, I think, something like that. Taking 5 from here, another 3 from here, and then the 4 from here as well. So, pretty good. Pretty good. Nice, good start for us. Alrighty then, on the draw with a Spectral Sailor into eventually a Nebelgast Herald, I guess. CoCo's a little bit far behind. We do need the green source to find it, but kind of want that 4th land eventually. We're going to draw that, no doubt. So, yeah, I think this hand's okay. I think I would have preferred this to be something like a breeding pool for the collecting company, or simply for the collecting company to be a Rattle Chains instead. So we could flash in the Empyrean Eagle to trigger Nebelgast Herald. Looks like we're up against the Artifact deck again. Fair enough. Don't know why this is suddenly popular today, but it's a fun deck. I'll give it that. An entirely different attacking force from the previous one. Definitely not trading off there. There's an Empyrean Eagle. Alright, so we have no 2-drop to make, so it's just going to go land, pass. Yeah, we're going to need the green source for the CoCo. I think if we have that, this hand could get us there. There's a Tempered Steel, turning everything into a monster. Highlighting the need for Nebelgast Herald, but it's just not going to be good enough at this stage, to be honest. There's an Ornithopter. And let's go Nebelgast Herald. Tap down damage. This is 7 points. I mean, I just want to know if I can... Oh, wow. I just wanted to know if I could CoCo next turn, because that's all that really matters, but... Unplayable card beats me. Fair enough. Alright, well, next game. Okay, on the draw once again. This hand, all it needs is really lands up to a CoCo, and it's pretty good. Turn 1 Spectral Sailor, turn 2 Rattle Chains to protect the Sailor, as well as giving Flash to Skyclave Apparition, Empyrean Eagle. All the things that don't have Flash really benefit from the Nebelgast Herald then at that point. This is pretty good. Let's see how long we have to live. Ah, it's Goblins. Okay, so none of this matters. Alright. Well, we drew our land. That's okay. I will trade a Spectral Sailor for a Prospector if our opponent is silly enough to attack with it. Wily Goblin. I get the impression they are silly enough. Ooh. Oh. Alright. Spectral Sailor blocks the Prospector. Our best chance for victory is our opponent not having that card, so there may be some hope left. Then we've got Rattle Chains into the Apparition as well. Apparition can take care of hasty Goblins, I suppose, off of a Muxus, which is probably happening, let's be honest. Otherwise we can Nebelgast and tap them down and whatnot. Alright, so there's the Goblin Chieftain. Gonna flash in Rattle Chains. Play our land, pass the turn. Hope that they don't have another Chieftain effect. It would be hella unfortunate. Well, I was gonna try an Apparition post-combat just to get the Wily Goblin to attack through into the Apparition, but I have to get rid of Chieftain there and hope we draw another one, I think. Because if we let Krenko resolve, then it has the haste while they respond. And that's not good. Alright. What else isn't good is our current board state. It is unfortunately quite bad. I'm going to have to Nebelgast Herald in response to them playing a creature here to tap down Krenko so they can only make 2 Goblins instead of 3 off the next creature. Oh, they're just going to go for it. Fair enough. Didn't see that one coming, if I'm being honest. And then cycles Gem Palm. It's a shame we don't have a Rattle Chains here. That would be very much ideal. And then we could Shacklegeist as well. But it is what it is. So opponent gets a 3/3. They redraw. And Matron for Muxus, if that's a land, probably. Yeah, we've basically got to kill them next turn, and that's just impossible, so they're going to go for a Chain Whirler. Okay. Well, Chain Whirler doesn't do anything as long as I've got an Empyrean Eagle and the Sword around, so that's okay. Alright, well, let's get swinging. It's a shame we don't have a Spectral Sailor, because we're probably going to have to Nebelgast Herald. Then again, Shacklegeist is 3, this is 2, plus another 2. No hasty creature from them? What are they waiting on here? They want me to flash in and block, essentially. I can't block with the Shacklegeist anyway. I can't protect against Gem Palm. So let's just block Matron there. Six, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Need Incinerator for Supreme Phantom. And they don't have it. Wow! Oh, I was just about to say, if they had the Gem Palm there, it would probably not worth it for even taking out that Matron, but I guess they could do this whenever they wanted, the cycle side of things, so even if I end-step flash the Supreme Phantom, I can't really play around it necessarily, but the potential for them to tap out as just kind of a last-ditch effort, and then I flash in Supreme Phantom because they don't realize they're dead kind of thing. I guess that would have been the better line of play, but yeah, we beat Goblins? That's not going to happen very often, I can tell you that for sure. Alrighty then, let's have a look. On the play, maybe for the first time ever, we got a Lofty Denial on 2, as well as a Rattle Chains on end step, and then we can start protecting and tapping on 3 if we draw the land. Alright, not too bad. The only thing that can make this hand a little bit better, I guess, is switching out maybe the Shacklegeist for another land, just so we have that security of getting to the Nebelgast Herald on time, but other than that, this hand's kind of good. It's kind of good. Even got the green, least favored color here. That's pretty bad. So it's either mono red or it's Goblins. Either way, probably not in for a fun time of sorts. We want to see that Firebrand tapping out essentially, like that. Yeah. And then I'm basically forced into playing Rattle Chains and hoping that I draw a land for Kira. Alright. So this means I've got a 2/2 that's protected from burn spells, and it's also protected from the Firebrand's ability as well. So that gets countered. Oops. And then they shock. Sure. And then they can Firebrand my Rattle Chains if they really want to. I'd call that pretty reasonable value, if I do say so myself. Alright. So a land CoCo Gotcha would be okay. Watcher of the Spheres into Shacklegeist, I guess, is also okay. This only says we can tap spirits, so the Watcher not being a spirit is kind of a downside here. That can't even block. Love to see it. But they just have everything. Makes sense. Alright. From here, I think I'm going to make a 2/3 for their 2/2s. Hope they don't draw a burn spell for it. Okay, we're going down to 7, taking way too much damage, to be completely honest, but magic please. This is spell, right? Yeah, so I can still tap it with a herald. Magic please, give me a land. The company there was basically what I needed to survive. This is a 3 damage burn spell. Nope. Okay, well, Nebelgast, tap down Bone Crusher. Opponent passes, love to see it. Post-combat Skewer. No lands. Hate to see it. Well, I have to play the Shacklegeist here. But he's not exactly helping me. I still pretty much just lose. So I can't get my 4th land to save my life, quite literally here. Let's tap down Bone Crusher. See if they realize that Shacklegeist can't block. Well, neither realized or they don't care. It is mono red, so not caring is probably on the more likely side, and we continued not to draw what we need, so we lose. Okay, on the draw with a fine hand. I mean, we got turn 1 Spectral Sailor. After that, we can hold up and Lofty Denial. Or we can start throwing out Spirit Lords. Kind of hope for a Collected Company mana eventually, but to do that, we have to draw bad cards. It's iffy. It's iffy for sure. It's all going to come down to... Ooh, that's not bad. And the response of ooh kind of works even better in this scenario. It's not too bad because it actually means the Supreme Phantoms can now flash and we can hold up and Lofty Denial if we really need to, which against what appears to be maybe Bant control, that's pretty important. We just can't really do anything about this particular play, otherwise we can't really play our Rattle Chains and progress the board. So we're going to have to hope that it's something that's not that bad. I mean, that's not that bad, all things considered. So, flash in Rattle Chains so that we can hold up and Supreme Phantom. Which would be a 1-3 and make some 2-2s, to be fair, so it's not too bad. We have no 3-mana play, so let's get that Shockland out there. And just pass the turn. This is actually Bant Ramp. Want a Lofty Denial, just about anything they play that actually makes an impact on this board, I would say. Looks like we're not going to see that, though. And this is one of those turns where we get a Supreme Phantom in. Skyclave Apparition. Okay, so we're all attacking here because we can flash in the Supreme Phantom and leave open Lofty Denial. So, a gotcha combat trick from our mighty creatures. We can play around Wrath of God with a Lofty Denial here as well. Planar Cleansing even more so. And a green source would be absolutely fantastic, but unnecessary against whatever our opponent was playing there. Couldn't really tell you. Bant Ramp is about all I could say, but it's a... Hydroid Chris is playing a Cleansing deck, so... You know. I imagine big impact things and not caring about whether or not they get blown up, so like Uros and whatnot. I really thought this was going to be control. They've got a destroy all non-land permanents kind of thing. Ooh, I wonder if they've got a Shire in this deck. A Shire turns all your creatures into lands so they don't get blown up with Planar Cleansing and undo Sky Ruins. Maybe that's what they were doing. That would make some sense. It's janky as hell and probably not worth it, but it's fun. So, is what it is. Alright guys, well that is gonna do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you have, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe as well for more content like this in the future. We're gonna be back with some Brawl, I think, next time around, so stay tuned for that. Other than that, take care guys, have a good night.